Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. This is Nancy, and this is the last day of July, so it is now time for our August gardening tips. And these are just things that if you're trying to stay on track and get the most out of your gardening season, what you can be doing. And the very first one that I want to talk about is taking care of you and your pets and your plants because this is an extremely hot time for us here in South Central Kentucky. The heat index this past week, I think, has been over 100 just about every day. So that means when you are outside, you want to make sure, first of all, you're not out in the hottest part of the day. You're coming out either early in the morning or perhaps late in the afternoon. And you have on a hat, you have on your sunscreen, you drink your water, and you are also making sure that any pets and animals that you have are also hydrated. My experience has been that I typically will lose more things due to heat than freeze. Hostas is one thing that I have noticed that will die on me faster than anything, such as this one right here. If I'm not keeping them watered during the hottest part of the season, you see the ferns hanging there on the gazebo, and oftentimes I'll water these twice a day just because it's so hot and the water is evaporating in our pots just a little bit quicker. And also, really fast, before I forget this, I wanted to mention that I do have a Facebook page, and I'm going to put the link in the first comment on this video. And this is a place where I can interact more with you all on a daily basis and a little bit more personal. I love to see what you're doing in your gardens, what's going on. I know Miss Joyce does a lot of sewing. I'd love to see what she's working on. See your pets, just anything that you want to brag on. Go and follow my Facebook page, and we can stay better in touch. So let's get back to the actual plants. So I, as a general rule, will have what I want sown for my fall garden planted by July the 15th. That's just how I like to do it. And I think I've showed you, we can walk back there and look. These are all in containers. Look at my fall garden. I have tomatoes, I have pumpkins, I have lettuce, and then I've also planted some flowers, nasturtiums, marigolds, things like that. I really like marigolds to use in the fall to decorate with. Now, if you are thinking about planting peas, like to have another crop this year, you want to plant those at the end of August. Anything before then is just really almost too hot for your peas. And another thing that I want to really ramp up this year and work on is planting seeds later in the year. And these are mainly biennials like foxgloves and hollyhocks, things like that, and let them stratify over the winter in the ground. And I've been thinking about changing up my landscaping some because I'm really heavy on irises and daylilies and hostas. So my plan is this fall, like maybe September, October, start taking out some of the hostas and the daylilies, and I'm potting them up. I'm potting them up to either give away, use at the farm, just whatever I want to do. But in their place, I'm marking it, and I want to be able to sow these seeds that of the flowers that I would like to have in my gardens. I really like the cottage style garden, which is just more of a free form. Cottage style is actually a design, but I like the flowers that they use typically in England in their cottage gardens. So that's what I'm trying to add to my gardens this year. So be looking, if you don't already have the seeds, go ahead and check out, any place that you would buy your seeds and start gathering those seeds. And so you'll have them on hand that we can sow those. So if you have planted potatoes, it's about the time of the year for your vines to be dying back, and that's when you'll dig your potatoes. I know Junior and Sheila planted some in laundry baskets. I did a video on that, so I'm anxious to see how those turned out, and we just think that would be a really fun project for the grandkids to do, is to be able to pull those potatoes out and find those potatoes. I think that would be something that would really encourage them to want to be a gardener, to see where their food comes from. If you have squash and zucchini, you are going to need to be checking on that daily, because I guarantee you it is producing like crazy this time of the year. And also, things like your potato vine, see how these are trailing here? You can snip these off and put these in water, and they will produce roots in just a few days, and then you can pot them somewhere else in your garden. But as you can see, here is an iris bed. There's two things wrong with it. It's too crowded and it's in too much shade. So this is one of the areas that I basically will dig everything up in here, repot it up, and then there's other things that I would like to plant in here. You know, the hostas are doing fine, so I can separate those and get more out of those if I would like. And I also wanted to show you something. If you are like me, you are oftentimes looking for lighting solutions in your garden. And this year I have been hit particularly bad with predators. I lost several chickens, we think, to a raccoon. Was not ever able to trap it. But in my search for lights to put outside, I wanted it to be solar, and I came across this brand on Amazon. I can put the link, I'll put that in the second comment. And they don't sponsor me, I get nothing as far as compensation for showing you this, but I really like this light. A 2-pack is around $30, and there's 3 settings. You can leave it on, or it can come up as like a predator or somebody walks up or whatever. And this is actually the 3rd batch of these that I've ordered, and I use them in different ways around my garden. Like on my chicken coop, I wanted the light to be on constantly, so when it gets dark, there's a light back there, and I can go back there. It's been especially helpful now with all of the watering I've been doing later in the night, you know, when it's a little bit cooler. And aren't the crepe myrtles? I think they're just so pretty this year. They are just gorgeous. And then these are black-eyed Susans. They are really, really producing and doing well. Here is another area that I was telling you about, how heavy I am on daylilies, and I'm just, instead of coming in and digging this entire thing out, I'm just doing it in sections and pieces and replacing it with different things. So that's one area that I'm working on right now. And of course, this is the back area of the garden, and this is the area that is a little bit more wild. I try to keep the front a little bit neater, but back here, I am just all about the pollinators. I love being able to sit back here and see all the different butterflies and the birds and then the bees. So I plant a lot of things back here. It is pretty heavily planted so that I can have that experience with the pollinators. And I also wanted to show you all something else. Have you heard about the shower curtain in the garden craze? Well, I have been seeing this for a while, and I finally broke down and bought one, and it's right beside the chicken coop. So as you can see, there's just kind of the idea is to put them in your garden. Maybe it just kind of brightens up or beautifies a place in your garden. So I thought this was really cute when you walk back in this section. That's devoted to the chickens. I have more food back here than flowers. You can see the pumpkins are just going crazy. So hopefully we'll have a good pumpkin harvest, and it looks like we're going to have a couple of ears of corn. The apple trees are just hanging full, absolutely hanging full. These are some zinnias that I planted late. I was able to get out yesterday. The weeds had just really taken over. When I say you can weed all year long, like I'm very serious about that. I have to weed all year long. But I did notice that these are getting ready to open. So this is some seed that I had saved, and they're getting ready to open up there. I have another little patch over here, and this one hasn't been weeded, so you can see what it looks like. But those are coming along, and then I also sowed another patch, and this is some more seeds. So I'm just trying to take areas in my own yard and just fill them up with flowers. These are some things that I dug up. These I think those are begonias, and then some type of fern, and then this is a little pine tree here that I'm actually growing out to take to the farm. I'll plant those up there later on this year. But I just put these back here, and I had the pots. It didn't cost me anything um, to make this little arrangement, and they're just sitting back here growing, and everybody's happy. And I also wanted to talk about, if you have chickens, I know several of us do, several of us want them, but this is a great time when you can give your chickens treats. I check my water frequently for my chickens. I also have 2 bunnies in there. So I check my water frequently, and also I take them treats. I take them watermelon, and I also take canned corn and put it in an ice cube tray and put it in the freezer and give them treats. I try to give them lots of treats. The bunnies are getting fresh carrots every day, so they really like those. And you can see one of those lights up there. I have it right up there, and it just lights this entire area up for me, so that we feel just a little bit better protected from the predators. But that's really all that I have as far as your garden tips for August. I appreciate everybody who is liking and commenting, and of course subscribing to my channel. And I hope you all have a good month. I will see you this week. We'll do a walk around in the garden. I do have a surprise. I have finally gotten one thing accomplished and checked off my list. But I hope you all have a blessed day, and we'll see you later on this week. And don't forget to go and follow my Facebook page.